Okay, now let's go down to the lymphatic drainage of the stomach. Now, remember, lymphatic drainage of stomach is very important because it is of clinical applied. There are a lot of applied anatomical features which are related to stomach, and lymphatic drainage plays an important role. Always remember, the lymph drains along the arterial and the venous drainage. So if we know the arterial drainage, we know where the lymph nodes are present. Okay, so we'll repeat the same diagram that we've used for blood supply so that it is easier for you to understand what groups of lymph nodes are present. So first of all, the stomach is divided into three parts by a horizontal line which divides the stomach into a left, right and a left segment. Here again the right left segment is divided into an upper portion and a lower portion. So three segments stomach is divided into. Some books also mention 4 segments, but at the end of the day there are lymphatic groups which are important. So if you label the lymphatic groups properly, finally they drain into the celiac tract, which is important. So let's start. This group, which is of the higher end group, which is related to the fundic area and partly that of the body of the stomach, this group is the one which is going to drain into pancreatico-splenic group of lymph nodes. Pancreatico-splenic or pancreatico-ileal group of lymph nodes. These are the groups. See, it is close to the spleen and posterior to the stomach. In the stomach bed we had pancreas. So pancreatico-splenic or pancreatico-ileal. So this group group of lymph nodes. Okay. The lower end, which is related to the greater curvature, is the one which will drain into gastroepiploic group of lymph nodes. See, these two arteries were right and left gastroepiploic arteries. So gastroepiploic group of lymph nodes. Some books also mention it as inferior gastric groups. This will be called as superior gastric and this will be called as inferior gastric. So some books mention it as gastroepiploic group of lymph nodes. Some books mention it as inferior gastric group of lymph nodes. Then coming down to the part which is below the pylorus, this is called as subpyloric group of lymph nodes. You don't have to mug up everything, you don't have to mug up anything, just follow the arteries and the structures which are related to the stomach. You will get the group of lymph nodes. Related to the spleen and the pancreas, pancreatosplenic. Related to the greater curvature, the two arteries gastroepiploic. Related to the part which is below the pyloric area, subpyloric. Similarly, the left gastric and the right gastric group of lymph nodes. Related to the left gastric artery, related to the right gastric artery. Therefore, left and right gastric lymph nodes. Some of the books mention these groups as superior gastric. Like this was mentioned as inferior gastric. Together, the right and left respectively will be called as superior gastric group of lymph nodes. The main branch which comes out is the common hepatic. From the common hepatic, gastroduodenal is given. After gastroduodenal is given, this which remains is the hepatic. So these group of lymph nodes are hepatic group of lymph nodes. Now, at the end of the day, all the groups of lymph nodes have to finally drain into this. And this is what? Celiac artery. So, these are celiac group of lymph nodes. So, all of these are finally going to drain into central part, which is related to the celiac trunk. Hence, this group is called as the celiac group of lymph nodes. All of them are finally going to drain into celiac group. So, in the lymphatic drainage, please understand, first you have to divide the stomach into 3 quadrants. Some books mention 4 quadrants. It is basically cutting the stomach into a right and a left half by a horizontal line, a vertical line which will cut again the fundic and the body part. So this will drain into pancreatico-splenic, this will drain into gastroepiploic, subpyloric, hepatic, and finally into the celiac group of lymph nodes. Now, celiac group of lymph nodes then render themselves into the pre-aortic and the para-aortic group of. Now let's come down to what is the nerve supply of the stomach. The nerve supply of the stomach comes through vagus, the vagal trunks, the anterior and posterior vagal trunks. Now when we read the esophagus, we saw that the anterior and posterior vagal trunks are nothing but right and left vagus. So when they are on the esophagus, when the midgut rotation takes place, when the rotation of the foregut takes place, at that time they become anterior and posterior respectively. Okay. So the stomach is supplied by nothing but the 2 vagi. The 2 vagi are parasympathetic in nature. They are secretomotor and motor to the stomach, both the anterior vagal trunk and the posterior vagal trunk. Let's come down to this diagram which shows us the anterior vagal trunk. Remember, the anterior vagal trunk is in close proximity to the esophagus, the lower end of the esophagus, as well as that of the stomach. मतलब anterior vagal trunk stomach से चिपक के चलेगी. It is closely applied to the lower end of the esophagus and also onto the cardiac end of the stomach. This usually rolls down in the lesser curvature of the stomach. It is closely applied to the stomach, that is the number 1 point. Second, it is the one which is closely applied to the lesser curvature. Now, before the vagus supplies the stomach, it gives off a hepatic branch which will go to the liver. Okay? You have to remember this point because this will come in vagotomy when we talk about vagotomy. Few of the branches, when they are given to the stomach, a major branch is given which is called as the hepatic branch. This hepatic branch later on also supplies some of the parts of the pyloric end of the stomach. This is the pyloric end of the stomach. So few of the branches from the vagus will also come down from the hepatic branch. This is the main trunk. The main trunk which is coming down to the stomach, it gives a major branch which is the hepatic branch. From the hepatic branch also few fibers are given to the pylorus. Just remember this. Majority the anterior trunk is the one which supplies the fundic area and the lesser curvature. Please pay attention here. The anterior vagal trunk mostly supplies the fundic and the lesser curvature of the stomach, and it is closely applied to the stomach. Let's come down to the posterior vagal trunk. I have drawn it in a dotted fashion because we are trying to show something which is posterior to the stomach. The posterior vagal trunk is at around 10 millimeters distance from the stomach. It is not closely applied. Remember, these are the two differentiating points. The anterior vagal trunk you will have to find very close to the stomach, lower end of esophagus. Whereas the posterior vagal trunk is at around 10 millimeters distance from the esophageogastric junction. Okay? Now this is not as closely applied to the lesser curvature, but it is the one which mainly supplies the whole of the stomach. That is, it supplies anterior and posterior surfaces of the stomach. As similar to the anterior vagal trunk, which gives off a hepatic branch, the posterior vagal trunk gives off what is called as the celiac branch. Okay, so as an undergraduate, you just have to remember 2-3 points which are important. That is, the nerve supply is given by vagal, which is parasympathetic nature. It is secretomotor and motor in nature to the stomach. There are two trunks, anterior and posterior. The anterior is closely applied to the stomach, whereas the posterior is around 10 millimeters from the gastroesophageal junction. The anterior is the one which supplies the fundic area and the part of the lesser curvature, whereas the posterior vagal trunk is the one which supplies the majority part of the stomach. It gives off a celiac branch, anterior one gives off a hepatic branch. The point to ponder is that when the anterior vagal trunk comes down to the lesser curvature at its termination, this pattern of distribution of nerve to the lesser curvature is called as crow's foot, कौवे के पाँव, crow's foot. The way the branches are given out in the terminal part of the anterior vagal trunk, they are called as the crow's foot. Okay. Now, what is the applied importance of the vagus in relation to the stomach? Stomach is a common entity for ulcers. Everybody has, you must have heard of conditions which are called as peptic ulcers. Now, peptic ulcers are very common, and peptic ulcers, the cure in case of intractable or incurable ulcers. Like initially, when there is ulcer, we often try and give antihistaminics, ulcer drugs that we give so that the ulcers are recovered. But in patients where the ulcers are not recovered, the final stage that we end up is doing an operation which is called as vagotomy. That is, parietal cells जो हैं, जो secrete करते हैं HCl, हमको उनको खत्म करना है so that acid secretion कम हो जाए. For that, what we do is vagotomy. Now, vagotomy in earlier days used to be done as truncal vagotomy. Truncal vagotomy. Truncal vagotomy में क्या होता था? The anterior or the posterior vagal trunk used to be severed completely. जब पूरी की पूरी वेगस को हमने काट दिया, तो other than parietal cells, वेगस का जो बाकी काम है, that is secretomotor to the stomach and motor to the stomach, वो भी खत्म हो जाता है. Pyloric part को जो सप्लाई जा रहा है, that also finishes up. So what we happen finally is, what happens to the stomach? It becomes atonic. Atonic मतलब contraction होगा ही नहीं. There will be no action of the musculature of the stomach. तो खाना जाएगा और वहाँ पे stasis हो जाएगा. There will be no action. There will be no mixing and churning. That is called as atonic stomach. To avoid atonic stomach, what we now do is selective vagotomy. Selective vagotomy में what we do is, we only particularly cut what are the nerve rootlets which are affecting that particular part of stomach जहाँ पे parietal cells हैं. We do not completely cut the nerve so that नीचे का जो part है, आगे का जो पार्ट है, हेपेटिक ब्रांच है, सिमिलरली सीलियाक ब्रांच है, they are not affected. So we only treat a small part, we only cut a small part of the nerve which is supplying the particular part. We are not cutting the whole trunk. So earlier we used to do a truncal vagotomy. Now we do selective vagotomy. There are two nerves which are named in vagus. One is nerve to latar jet. From the anterior vagal trunk, there is a nerve which is called as the nerve to latar jet. That is, after few branches have been given to the fundic area from the anterior vagal trunk and the hepatic branch is given out. The branch which is on to the lesser curvature of the stomach is called as the nerve of latar jet. Okay. So in selective vagotomy, we do not cut the nerve of latar jet. This has to be preserved. Similarly, a nerve of Grassi is the one which is given name to the branch which is coming from the posterior vagal trunk. This is given off at the gastroesophageal junction. It is given off at the gastroesophageal junction and it supplies the fundic area of the stomach. So two names that you must remember along with the nerve supply of vagus are, number one, nerve to latar jet. Nerve to latar jet कौन सी है? The final anterior vagal trunk which continues down on the lesser curvature of the stomach after giving the hepatic and few fundic branches is the one which is called as nerve to latar jet. This nerve has to be preserved because it supplies the part of pylorus. Okay, and nerve to Grassi, which is present in around 90% of the individuals, which is given off at the gastroesophageal junction. It supplies the fundic area of the stomach. With this, we finish with the nerve supply of the stomach.